Welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. Coming up in today's episode, Liverpool want Morgan Gibbs-White this January. Omar Bamadeli could be set to leave in this transfer window. Taiwo has been told he can go. And Marinakis converts Forest debt in the sum of 82 million. All this and plenty more coming up today on your latest Forest news. Let's get into it. Good morning, good evening, or good night. Hope you guys are doing well, and welcome to your latest Forest transfer news. We got plenty yet again to talk about. If you're enjoying the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV for your daily Forest news. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do so by buying me a coffee by scanning this QR code or clicking on the link that's pinned in the comments. All right, let's jump into this. There's a lot to talk about, and the main headline today is about Morgan Gibbs-White and Liverpool's hunt for him. Now, we all know Morgan Gibbs-White has come into real good form, especially in the last few games, but over the 2 or 3 years that he's been at Forest, he has been the poster boy of it. There have been many links to him. We've seen Spurs wanting to hunt him, as well as other Premier League clubs as well. And now it's Liverpool's turn to put their name in the hat. Now, Arne Slot wants a 10. He wants a creative player that can score goals. That in itself is arguable, but Morgan Gibbs-White does get a decent enough return. And he wants it ASAP. The talk is that Liverpool will try and make a push for him this January window. And if they can't get him in January, they're going to come in for him again in the summer. Now, before you lot start panicking, Forest's stance is quite simple on Morgan Gibbs-White. They still have 2 years left on his contract. There's been talks in the last 6 months that they're talking about contract renewal, which Morgan Gibbs-White would be warm to. And on top of that, Forest is saying, ain't no chance Vince McMahon settings that anyone comes in for Morgan Gibbs-White and Forest accept an offer this January transfer window. And there's many reasons to that. One, everyone at Forest sees him as a key and pivotal player, a leader in that team as well. Secondly, we have him covered on contract anyway. It's not like he's on a Bosman come January like a couple of our other players. And thirdly, and most importantly, the message that is clearly coming out of Forest is about cohesion of the team this season. We saw what they did with Elanga in the summer, where some of us, including myself, would have taken the money. But it is most important now for Forest, according to Forest, that they keep that cohesive unit together. And Morgan Gibbs-White is one of those key players in the middle of all of this. Now, I ain't saying that, any player doesn't have a price, because every player has a price. If Liverpool were going to come in and splash, 80, 90, 100 million on him, then maybe you could see something happening. Let me ask you guys a question. What do you think it would take for Gibbs-White to be parting ways with Forest? How much money would it take? But I don't see that happening. Liverpool aren't traditionally a massive spender in the January window. I think their biggest transfer that I remember would have been the likes of Nunez when they bought him for about 80 million. And what a flop he has been. So I'm not panicking at all about the links here. I understand and I expect teams to be interested in Gibbs-White. I expect Murillo stories to come out this window. I expect Milenkovic stories to come out, because Forest are second. And while Forest, third now, Arsenal won, didn't they? And while Forest are in the high position they are in, of course, teams are going to be looking at their players, because one, they've been able to cut it at the higher level of the Premier League. Secondly, the old Premier League proven tag will be ticked by these players. And thirdly, they would like to disrupt what our team is doing. And for Forest to then go and sell to a title competitor in Liverpool in the January window, for me, wouldn't make sense. So I'm not worried about this one, but maybe some of you guys are. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Okay, let's talk about some players that are likely to move on in this January transfer window. And I want to talk about a forgotten name in Andy Omobamidele, who hasn't really had a chance at Forest this season. I think he played in the Newcastle League Cup match, if memory serves me correct. And to be honest with you, he's a player that I've always really liked. I think there's a bit about him. He plays internationally over at Ireland, a good player, good professional, and I think has a great career ahead of him. But it is fair to say he's very unlikely to get a chance in this team when you have Milenkovic, when you have Murillo, and they're deputised by the likes of Morato and Bolly as well. He's gone down that pecking order, and for him to progress, he may need to leave Forest. Now, there is already some talk about some clubs that are interested in him, but it's more so the Championship level. And yes, it's that team Sheffield that would like to retain his services from Forest. Now, the talk here is this could be a loan move for Omobamidele rather than a transfer. Remember, Forest paid, I think it was about 11 million off the top of my head for Omobamidele when we bought him. So Forest would need to recoup a lot of that money based on amortization and all of that stuff. There's still a lot to be paid off on that one. And I personally don't want him to leave Forest. I think a loan move into the Championship would do him the world of good, especially if he's going to, say, a Sheffield United where they are fighting at the top end of the table, where they do need some reinforcements at the back. I think it will do him good. And then he comes back in the summer. Let's see how he's developed. Maybe then we're talking about Murillo to, I don't know, Real Madrid or what have you. And there may need to be some chopping and changing at the back. But again, it's another one where we don't want to disrupt the dynamics in the club. And he's a popular character amongst the players. So this one will need to be handled with caution. But I think he would be up for a move because he's looking at his career and thinking, I need to be on the grass getting game time. But would you guys let him go? And if you would you rather see it as a perm or a loan move? Let me know your thoughts. So let's move on to probably the most controversial one about the players that are being linked away. And this is, of course, Taiwo Awoniyi. Now, he is a player, let's be honest, who kept us up in the Premier League in our first season back with his goals, with the run he went on that carried over into the start of the next season. But he's a player that just can't get back to full fitness. And now with Chris Wood banging in the goals, he's struggling, even though fit, to be able to get his name ahead of him. Now, with Forest and Taiwo, our understanding is they are prepared to listen to offers. They're not actively putting him on the bomb squad, but they would if Forest go and recruit another striker, be that as a backup to Chris Wood or someone ahead of Chris Wood or someone to compete with Chris Wood. The thinking here is that if Forest don't get a striker in the January window, they would rather hold on to Taiwo because we are very short with number 9s in our current squad. So this will happen if Forest gets someone in. And if Forest gets someone in, you'll almost see this one working in tandem with getting him moved on. Now, we've heard for many, many months that Taiwo would like to go to the MLS. Talks about him wanting to set up an academy there, spread the football into the MLS and what have you. So I think that still might be something that's on his agenda. And I could probably see him fitting in an MLS club there, which would then allow him to do his project work in America. So I think he would be up for it. So I don't think it's him that would block a move or anything like that. I think this would definitely be on the basis that Forest get another striker in. Now, today's video is all about the players going out. We've got loads to talk about and more players being linked. That will come out hopefully in tomorrow's video. But if you guys given up on Taiwo, have you seen enough from his cameos, the odd 5 minutes he gets towards the end of the games, that would want you and keep you wanting Taiwo in there? Or do you think it's time we tagged him out and maybe got in an upgrade? What are your thoughts? Let me know, as always, in the comments. All right, let's talk about the great man, the Greek father himself. It feels like 5 minutes since I've had to praise him, and that's way too long in my books. He has written off yet more debt for Forest. I believe it was £82 million this time. Chump change to the great man. And basically he's turned that debt into shares. Now, without going into the whole accountancy world and how it works and boring everyone with it, in essence, what it means, it saves Forest money, because that's £82 million of debt that they no longer have to pay interest for. He just does it like that without hesitation, blink of an eye, converts it into shares, and just furthermore shows his commitment to the club. I would like anyone, and I'm talking if you're not a Forest fan watching this, or you are a Forest fan watching this, name me a better owner in the Premier League. And don't come at me with that idiot from Brighton, because Brighton are one of the most heavily indebted clubs in the league. For me, it's no contest. Marinakis is the best owner, the owner who cares the most about his club, and the owner who has the best vision for his club. And more importantly, he puts his money and his action where his wallet is and where his mouth is, and he is acting upon it. Moving Forest from 17th to 3rd in 1 year is crazy, and he wants more, and I love his ambition. So let me know in the comments how much you love the great man, the Greek father himself, Marinakis. And that brings you up to date with all the outgoings from Forest currently. If you've enjoyed the content and haven't done so yet, please don't forget to hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new. I'll leave you my predictions as well on the end screen for the week 20 fixtures coming up in the Premier League over on the Footy Network, our second channel. So make sure you check that out and make sure you subscribe there as well. We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.